Hi everyone, this is Nate Miller and this is my Module 6 Capstone assignment. So for my STEM inquiry project, we recently just did this in our classroom and we had the students make draft detectors. So we gave them this paragraph here where it says, "Did you feel that breeze? How did I feel a breeze if I'm inside the building? Buildings can leak cold or warm air. By finding and fixing these leaks, people can cut back on how much energy they use. The less energy people use to heat and cool their homes, the more money they save. Burning fossil fuels such as oil and coal also reduces air pollution. You have been invited to participate in an international contest to design a device to detect drafts in a building." So then we took our class, or I took my class around our school, and I made them try to find different areas of the school where there's a draft, and we discovered that our school building, we have a really old school building, that there's plenty of areas. So their assignment was to now create a detector that shows where those drafty areas are so that we can reduce the energy costs of our school building. So as you can see here, these are just some different pictures of the kids working on their detectors. So they had to come up with their plan. So they were given the question, they were given the steps to the assignment, but overall they were the ones producing everything. So in the top left there, you can just see a bunch of kids working together, talking things out with different materials. In the bottom left, that's a student who's actually testing her draft detector. On the top right, a couple kids working on theirs, and then on the bottom right, kids working together on testing their detectors as well. So this is one of the draft detectors that we discovered worked really well. So on the left side here, there's just a picture, and on the right side here, we didn't have much of a draft that day outside, but so we opened the window a little more, but you can see that the pieces of paper are moving, which proved it to be a success. So I decided that this project was integrating disciplines through overlapping and sequencing. The science is the draft and the scientific process and just understanding how we can reduce energy costs. And then the math was they had to measure out all of their materials so that they could tell somebody else how to make it. The technology is the actual draft detector itself is the technology, along with they had to do research on their iPads and online to find different ideas and different examples. And then the engineering is the actual building of the assignment. So then for the levels of inquiry, I decided this is the level 1. I gave the kids the problem and the question that they had to do, and then for procedure-wise, because I gave them all the steps as far as like, what is your problem? What are the materials that you need? How are you going to do this? And just different ideas. I decided that's a 1, even though the kids were the ones that were deciding what they're testing for and everything there and how to build it and what materials to use. And then ultimately the solution, the kids were the ones that are deciding if it worked or not. For descriptions of each inquiry level, I said in between that 1 and 2 for the same reasons of here I gave them the problem, I gave them the steps, but they're the ones that are actually going through and developing their own plan. And then if you look on the right side here, I decided that for the beginning of it, it's more so teacher guided because again, I was giving them the problem, I was giving them the question, and then it kind of goes into more learner self-directed because after the first day, I was more so just a support rather than actually helping the kids do the project. So they needed to decide what data they're going to collect. The only thing I told them is they had to do multiple trials on multiple days to see if it still worked. They were the ones that needed to use the evidence to form their explanations. They were the ones that needed to use their background knowledge and scientific knowledge to explain and evaluate, and then they were the ones that needed to create what we called an advertisement using Google Slides to communicate the results. So for their Google slide, they had to pretty much write a summary of how they built the draft detector, the issues they had with it, what they had to do to make it work better, revamp it, and then ultimately what they found. And then on the right side, they had to take a picture of their draft detector. So for example, taking like this picture and labeling the different parts of what material it is and what it's used for. And that's the part that we're still working on right now. And they'll submit them before we leave for winter break. So thanks for a good semester, everybody.